Most people who are destroyed never get the chance to understand exactly how it happened. The pieces are scattered, the timeline is blurred, and the people responsible have long since moved on to building their next comfortable life on top of the wreckage they left behind. But every once in a while, in the kind of story that feels almost too precise to be coincidence, someone gets something rare, something that should be impossible. They get to go back, and this time, they already know everything. The life she lost did not end quietly. It ended on a street alone, with nothing left. No family name, no home, no future, no one coming. And in the moments before the end, if she had enough clarity left to trace back through everything that had happened, the line would lead to a single person. A girl who had lived inside her family's house. The daughter of the woman who had been employed to care for them. Someone who had been given proximity, warmth, and trust. And had spent years studying how to use all three as weapons. The impersonation had been meticulous, not a rushed or careless plan, but something constructed with patience and attention to detail by someone who had watched closely and learned exactly what was needed. An identity card. Her identity card, taken and used to enter an examination under her name, to cheat in a way that would leave her fingerprints, or rather, her stolen fingerprints, all over the evidence. When the accusation came, it came with documentation. It came with the kind of paper trail that is almost impossible to argue against when you are already on the wrong side of powerful people who have decided what the conclusion should be. Her father never stood a chance. He was a man who had built his reputation and his company on principles that left him genuinely unprepared for the kind of attack that does not fight fairly. The accusation of bribery was designed, not just to damage him, but to dismantle him completely, to take the thing he had spent his life constructing and reduce it to something that could be picked apart by people who had been waiting for exactly this kind of opening. The company fell. The family name became something people distanced themselves from. And she, stripped of everything that had defined her existence, found herself on the outside of a world that had moved on without a second thought. And then she opened her eyes. The ceiling above her was familiar in a way that took several disorienting seconds to process. The sounds outside the window were sounds she recognized but had not heard in years. The weight of her own body felt different. Younger, lighter, unburdened by everything that had happened. Because none of it had happened yet. She was back. Not at some abstract earlier point in her life, but at a specific and extraordinarily useful one. The final year of high school. The year before the examination. The year before the stolen identity card. The year before the frame, the accusation, the collapse, and the street. Everything that had been used against her existed somewhere ahead of her, on a timeline she now held complete knowledge of. Every move that had seemed unstoppable the first time through was, from this new vantage point, a move she could see coming long before it arrived. The girl who had studied her so carefully for years did not realize that the study had gone both ways, that in the process of watching and planning and executing, she had also revealed herself completely to the person she was destroying. And that person was now standing at the beginning of the story. With the entire ending already memorized, she did not return to that year in pieces, confused and searching for footing. She returned whole, carrying the accumulated weight of everything she had survived, the grief, the humiliation, the long terrible unraveling, and carrying something else alongside it. Clarity, the specific, uncluttered clarity of someone who has already been through the worst and has therefore stopped being afraid of it. She knew what was coming, and she knew what it required, and she was not going to waste a single day of the time she had been given. The examination was the first thing to protect. Her father's reputation was the second, and the comfortable life that one person had built entirely on stolen foundations. The identity, the opportunities, the future that had never belonged to her, was something that could not survive contact with the truth. Not this time. The real heir was back. She knew every move on the board, and the game that had ended her once was about to be played again, with the only difference that mattered. This time, she was the one who already knew how it ended.